there is one person that has captured the hearts and minds of his organization, of an industry, and of the analysts covering business transformation services. That person is the Chief Executive and Co-founder of UiPath, Daniel Dines.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, it's quite a large audience. Are you still here? Usually I'm the worst speaker, so I guess this is why they put me the last. But thank you for still being here. I guess it was a very long day, packed with a lot of information. And I am gonna try not to waste your time. I guess everybody wants to go to the party. And look, I'm a much better listener than speaker. So the highlight of my days are usually when I go and listen to our customers. And yesterday evening, I had dinner with a few of our largest customers. I can say I was quite tired. And but at some point, one of them that you heard today said, Daniel, not only that we saved 200 million of our automation program. So let's pause for a second. 200 million in savings. Sounds huge. But I was still tired. But we also save people's lives. And then my tiredness went away. Because what best? What can one that were to build a technology, what can be a better story than to hear that your technology saves people's life? So I feel very privileged to be here today, and I want to share with you some other great stories from our customers. But first of all, really, I want to thank you for this incredible journey we've been through the last 5 years. You all know us. 5 years ago, we were, I think, this row in front of me in a small apartment, and now it's 3,000 people here, and it's frankly all because of you. We are very fortunate to be able to build a product just by listening to you. We don't have to invent a market. Just by listening to our customers, responding to their needs, we are able to build a great product. And I want to share some numbers with you. It's really a humbling experience that we have more than 5,000 enterprise customers. I don't even know how this number grew so fast. And our company grew as well. And but it still feels this is the beginning of the journey. And the RPA market shapes to be a very big market. And of course, we are not talking about RPA alone. We are talking about the automation market. And even more general, we can talk about the business application market. And with the advent of cloud, I think we will be able to increase 10 times this market by being able to allow basically the entire planet to jump into RPA. And again, I have some numbers to prove it. Only in the last month alone, we had another more than 30,000 users joining our SaaS platform that we host in the cloud. This is a big number. And it's a big number because of the power of our SaaS platform. UiPath has the only true multi-tenant SaaS platform in the world. This is not a platform that we have to create a new installation of our entire stack in the cloud, like our competitors do. This is true multi-tenant that serve every customer, every new installation in less than a minute. And we believe that this cloud platform will be transformational also in the adoption of new tools. Our plan for the future is to bring all our technology cloud first and then to deploy it on-prem. And even if many of you are really big enterprises, there are many use cases to bring in the cloud. Maybe testing, maybe staging, maybe experimenting with the new things. We really invite all of you to go, sign for it. It's a very smooth and easy process. No person behind the form. It's a true multi-tenant solution. And we are quite proud of being able to deliver this for the RPA market. A market that analysts say it's going to be $16 billion in 2023. I beg to differ. I think this is going to be at least UiPath market in 2023. And I based my thinking on my discussions with our customers. And what some people don't realize is how big is the drive to get a robot for every person. And this is the thing that made me think a lot in the past year since we have introduced this concept. And I believe that we tap into a very profound way of how work is delivered. And if we look at how modern work is delivered, it has been changed radically in the 80s and in the 90s. With the mass adoption of email in organizations, with the mass adoptions of productivity tool, a line of business applications, the work was completely different from the 70s. And now, I think that we are on the verge of a new revolution. Because all these great technologies have actually created more work. We have our people constantly dealing with emails, taking data from an email, downloading a file, copying into an Excel application, take a spreadsheet, put it into a SAS or even into a mainframe. There is no single line of business application that can provide everything. And business processes, as they are today, are designed by people, by human users. They are not designed by software engineers. And business people use systems in order to achieve their goals. I don't care so much about the systems, but they use them to achieve the goals of the business process. And when they author these business processes, they always use human-readable interfaces. They build a process. My customer can contact me via email or via a chatbot, and then I use again spreadsheets, I use line of business application, I create reports, and in the end, I deliver some goods to my customers, again, via physical or electronic means. When you go and try to automate these processes, and always people start small. You create a new line of business, you try something, you start small, you build your process, and then you need to add people to deliver it. As you are successful, the number of people required to be in the process increases, and then you think, let's automate it. And when you go to automate it, you realize it's not so easy to translate a process built on the top of human-readable interfaces into API interfaces. Of course, you can, if the process has high enough volume, you will hire, business analysts that understand the process, project managers, software developers. They will go discover the APIs, understand how this translation works, create a backlog for your IT project, and it takes months and years sometimes to deliver it. We tap in something profound, because with the addition of our new software that empower citizen developers to build automations, we complete the circle that the productivity tool had started 30, 40 years ago. So we want to empower the same people that build the processes to automate them, to give them next generation productivity tool that will let them to do the automation. And I want to congratulate here a very special partner of us that was really the first in the world in the journey of bringing a robot for every person. And thank you. They had the courage to start this quite some time ago, when actually our software was not completely ready, and they had to build, in addition to our software, features to allow them to do proper governance, to be able to deploy citizen deliver automation to their teams. But they achieved. There are more than 50,000 people that consume automations within PwC. To me, this is a phenomenal success. And we are really able to learn from this and help many other customers to replicate it. And I believe this is going to be that will have the same effect as the revolution of productivity tool. And one of the most touching story that I was fortunate to hear in person comes from Singapore. And I met a lady that spent 47 years working for Singtel, doing a lot of repetitive work. And as part of the one robot for every person that Singtel has been embarked on, she learned to build her own robot. And she has been able by herself to automate a process that involves like 2,000 clicks and around 4.5 hours to 3 minutes. And she cannot be more happier than this. It was quite a touching moment to see. Again, it's, I believe we humans in the end do whatever we do for us as humans. So nothing can be more touching than seeing these great examples. And this really reminds me of our mission. We have a very ambitious mission. We want to accelerate human achievement. I would like you to look for a second. Technology has always been able to change the way we live. And in a way, I think that we started our history with the invention of agriculture. And we invented agriculture because our needs, because we had to provide food, consistent, predictable food to our people. But it's been a trap for humans, because agriculture and later on all further development trapped us into repetitive work, into work that humans were not meant to. But every time, ways of technology have changed jobs and changed people working on the fields with people working on the factories. From the factories, people worked into service industry. I believe we are close to closing this circle. And we will be maybe again free to play, talk, sing, and whatever we are meant for. And to continue our examples of how our robots help people, I want to bring a local example from New York. One of the oldest foundations, the New York Foundling, that has been able to use our technology for the help of children. Now, I would better let them speak about this themselves. So please have Arik and Sylvia on the stage. Great pleasure to meet you. Hey. Well, can you tell us a bit about your founding and your roles?
Sure. My name is Sylvia Rowland, and I am the Senior Vice President of the Foundling's Evidence-Based Community of Programs. I oversee the programs at Foundling. You want to introduce, and then I'll tell.
And I'm Arik Hill. I'm the Chief Information Officer for Foundling.
Kind of an interesting marriage, right? About 150 years ago, on October 11th, this October 11th, three sisters of charity, $5 and a vision, moved into a brownstone on the Lower East Side of New York City, hoping to provide stable and supported living for infants that were abandoned in New York City as a result of the troubling times post-Civil War and the mass migration. The sisters thought they had about 2 or 3 months to prepare their home for these children, and within 24 hours there was a weak cry out on the steps, and their first child, an infant, a newborn, was given to them. Word quickly got around, and about several months later they had 167 more children left on the doorstep for them to care for. Caring for 167 children who are infants was very difficult, so the sisters hired 167 wet nurses and began the foster care industry in New York. From there, the Foundling has continued to grow and has continued to meet the needs of the folks in New York City who are at risk for abuse, neglect, who are addicted, who are involved in criminal behavior, who have mental illness, who have chronic conditions. The Foundling has continued to grow and adapt to that, looking for an opportunity to advance and accelerate the system. We have always believed that everyone deserves a chance at exercising their potential and their possibilities, but we have not always been able to accomplish that because of an antiquated system. The child welfare system, the social service system, is still a paper and pencil, spreadsheet-driven system. It is a system that is administratively heavy with lots of regulations. It is risk adverse. It is multiple system cut and paste. We have clinicians who turn over regularly. In 2017, our turnover rate for our talent was 40%. And these are folks that we train, folks with advanced degrees that are hard to replace. In that problem, we identified a need for transformation. We identified a need for a culture change with a bold new vision, and that's where UiPath joined the founding story.
Well, we are very happy to be part of this story. Can you tell us a bit more how UiPath has impacted the founding?
Service excellence. So it starts with a goal and being able to look at what we want to accomplish long term. And so we've spent a lot of time looking at the Sisters of Charity in terms of their contribution to us, which is imparting a lot of values towards our mission. We're purpose-driven, very much like UiPath. And so service excellence is what we want to achieve in everything that we do. We're only as good as the last service that we provided. So with that in mind, we are embarking upon this journey with our staff and going down it in a relatively innovative approach, which is Agile. So all of you use Agile every day, but as Sylvia was mentioning, that's unprecedented within social services because they're carrying around clipboards and paper. Stacks of case notes are what we live and breathe on a daily basis. So this concept of actually working with our staff in group formation, where we're pulling subject matter experts from all of our different divisions and working together towards service excellence, is a really important step for us to engage with folks in a very new and exciting way. With that, and I think, if you don't mind, I'll share some behind-the-scenes stories of UiPath.
Please.
Not only are you driven by your customers, but you're also driven by your staff, and you're listening to them. And within your organization, there's this employee-driven initiative called the UI Bridge Path for nonprofits. And with that, we're basically the generous benefactors of your ability to contribute back to the community based upon someone's idea. So they brought it to you, and they were supported by you. And so thank you for that. And you're probably wondering, so what does this all mean? What this means is that we're able to go back to our staff now and look at what are the highest value processes that we could kind of resolve some conflict, address the issues that cause them not to want to be in social services. And you know what it is? It's cutting and pasting. It's crazy. We have 5 different systems that we have to cut and paste data on a daily basis, to the point of, for just one, our initial pilot is 4 hours per week for every clinician. And the end result of this pilot, just the first bot, is 70,000 hours we're going to be able to give back to our clients and actually do more services.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this with us. This initiative that started from our own employee really made me proud. They want to donate their own time to help you progress faster with your automation plans. So.
Yeah. Shashank and Tim have just been exceptional. And I hope that this becomes a great opportunity for launching similar initiatives. Yeah. Because I think that trust that you have in your employees is the same trust that we want to extend to our employees, that showing them the data, allowing them to own their piece of the puzzle, and then look at how we actually activate our research-backed, evidence-based programs with that mindset, which is allow everyone to explore data in a new and innovative way, own those bots, and have the ability to actually come up with ideas and hopefully launch them into the community.
Clearly a case for a robot for every person.
Yes,
a robot for every
Yeah.
person.
So based on your experience, do you think this robot for every person or automation first mindset can benefit other nonprofits?
Right. So, yes.
Surprise.
So when you talk about giving back clinicians 4 hours every week or 16 hours a month, and allowing them to have more time to do the work that they enjoy doing and the reason they came to the work, it was the sweet spot to start the automation innovation in the child welfare system. We have agencies that are clamoring for this innovation because they, like the folks at Foundling, report to 5 separate systems. And one of the systems that our folks report to is called Connections. It's a state system that is old and clunky, and the more people that use it, the slower it is. So the time is exponentially wasted in that system. Your bots allow them to go into a faster, leaner system, and they never have to open the connection system again. So in the conversations that I've had with 250 other users of the same electronic health record we use, they're saying, when is it my turn?
Thank you.
Hint, hint.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a great story. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you on the stage. Thank you, Arik. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you so much.
Now I have a global story to share with you. And it's the story that when I heard about it, it really made me cry. And I think that's basically the best story of how technology can impact humanity. And again, I would like to have Samir on the stage to speak about how technology has been able to help millions of refugees, even when they didn't have the budget. Samir, please come on the stage.
Good to see you.
Great pleasure to see you.
Good to see you.
So please tell us about yourself and your role at UN.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. The UN is a very complex beast. Most people have heard of the UN, but I wanted to spend a couple of minutes explaining what the UN system is. And broadly speaking, it was created about 70 years ago after World War II. And there are many, many different UN agencies, about 100 of them. And some of them focus on, for example, atomic energy. So IAEA is ensuring worldwide that countries stick with the rules and make sure they use nuclear energy for good. You have agencies like OPCW, which handles chemical weapons. And they do very, very brave work. They are the ones who went out to Syria and extracted all the chemical weapons from there and made sure they were destroyed. You have agencies like UNICEF, which all of you have heard of, which helps out children worldwide, making sure they have healthcare, they have education, and that they're taken care of. You have agencies like UNHCR, which handles refugees, and one of my favorites in terms of the mission and the objectives they achieve. You have agencies like the World Food Program that is delivering food to over 30 million people worldwide. And the list just goes on and on. You can talk about climate change, you can talk about women's rights and gender equality. There's a UN agency that focuses on that. So the picture we have up on the wall lists the 17 SDGs. So these are the 17 goals that the UN, working with all 193 member states, came up with in 2015. And the goal is, let's achieve these objectives in 15 years by 2030. So
what are the biggest challenges that you are focused on?
Certainly. So we are a shared service IT organization that sits behind all of them and provides them with IT services. So the big challenges we see are that these objectives that we have set for ourselves, and in fact all member states have set for ourselves, are almost unachievable. They're very aggressive, but what's happening is at the same point in time, the climate is such that the budgets are shrinking, and every year there are more and more refugees. There's more climate change-related wars, disruption, which creates climate refugees, for example, and effects on children and their education and their health and on and on. So the economic climate, the political climate in the world is becoming tougher, and the budgets are shrinking. So what that really boils down to is we have to make do with less and deliver on our goals. And again, we're talking about refugees, 20 million refugees that UNHCR supports today with shrinking budgets. So there's a massive amount of focus on how do we achieve these with the political pressures and the reduced budgets. So that's, I would say, at a broad brush.
So how did you go about considering RPA and digital transformation?
Certainly. I think we were very lucky. In January 2017, the new Secretary General, Mr. Gutierrez, came in and started running the UN Secretariat. And he's an engineer. He's a technologist. So he started challenging all the agencies and said, you could be using technology so much more effectively than you have so far. And that tone from the top has really helped. So now the heads of each of the UN agencies, as they come in, are looking to do a digital transformation, are saying, how can I use technology for good? So they assembled some great minds and said, what can we do? What will really make a big impact for the UN? And one of the best ideas that came through was automate, look at all of your back office functions, look at all the back office processes, digitize them. Again, the theme all of you have been hearing all day. Take that repetitive work and digitize it, automate it. And that will free up money that can then go towards the substantive mission of each of the UN organizations.
Yeah, this is amazing. It's great to hear that UN is led by a technologist. In the end, engineers change the world. I'm an engineer. So what have we been able to accomplish to date?
Oh, so to me personally, UiPath has been more than a software company. It's been a partner for us who has come in at the beginning, and we have colleagues like from UiPath like Arjun who spend day and night working with us to say, how can we make an impact? How can we make a difference? So UiPath has not only helped deliver some of the first common shared bots we in UNICC have built for the system, we have set up a federated COE. And we have also set up, which was actually coincidentally just announced yesterday, a digital services center for the UN. So we're trying to build common digital solutions. And UiPath has been there for us through the entire journey and continues to be with us as we go through this maturity curve to bring the UN, digitize their processes, and save us money that can be used.
Yeah. You told me that UN is quite a large organization, like
Absolutely.
more than 200,000 people. I think there will be a lot of opportunity. What do you think next 1-2 years will bring to us?
Honestly, the studies we conducted internally in the UN showed us that even if 10% of all the manual processes we have in our back office are automated or digitized, that could potentially save us up to $1 billion that can then be used to deliver to the substantive mission. So that's $1 billion more that can go towards educating kids, $1 billion more collectively, sorry, not for all of those, but $1 billion more that can be used towards taking care of medical disasters, hurricanes, refugees, on and on and on. So I think it becomes a game changer for us. And secondly, a hidden benefit there is standardization. Everybody starts to do things in a more consistent fashion. So I think both from a dollar value as well as a process and an optimization, digitization, it's a game changer.
Thank you. We are very happy to be partnered with you in this journey.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I think for all of us there is a moment in life when we can not only look ahead, but we can look back and see who we are. And we ask ourselves, what is our role in this world? Why do we exist? What's our purpose? And I know that most of us are day to day in the trenches, and we do our job, we feed our families, we play with the friends. But I truly believe that in the end, our reason of existence is not ourselves. I think we will all die. But what I believe is going to survive is the humanity. And I think all of us have a duty to contribute to the humanity. And it's my goal to do whatever I can to... all of us know that I think we are very lucky to be here. We at UiPath, we live in one of the best world possible. But probably many of us, remember, many of us came from poor countries. I was born in a poor country. And I've seen many people, many children that couldn't achieve their potential. To me, this is one of the things that matters the most in life. How can we help our people to achieve their potential? Yes, technology can help us accelerate our achievement, but many people are still left outside. I have the great honor to introduce you our UiPath Foundation, whose goal is to help children in poor countries to be able to achieve their potential. We have started with a program in Romania and India, which are the countries where we have really large presence and we know very well. We would like to extend into other areas. And we would love to partner with you guys into our mission. I know that many of you work in large organizations that have, they do a lot of charity work. We've already partnered with UBS Bank, for example, to help us in our mission. We would like to partner with other organizations to help in this mission. So any contribution, any idea in this regard is really welcome about us. On a different topic, we all know that automation has generated a lot of fear about losing jobs. And today I would like to show you that automation and technology actually creates jobs. And even our small contribution to the world. What kind of jobs have we created? With our new product launch, we are able to engage more users from an enterprise into changing their career path. Subject matter expert will be able to use our expert line of products to be able to document and understand better the processes they work on. The citizen developers will be able to automate themselves out of their routine tasks. And RPA developers, we all know, it was an industry that didn't exist 5 years ago. And now there are hundreds of thousands. Only UiPath has more than 500,000 people that are working on our platform, RPA developers. And we have process controllers, are people that work with orchestrator and make sure that the work is delivered. And then business users now can participate into the grand scheme of automation, working with robots and either to help the robots become better by validating the output of robots or simply sending tasks directly to the robots. And of course, business analysts can use our new analytics platform to help measure and understand better the success behind delivering automation. And let's first talk about how business analysts and SMEs can be helped by our technology. And I am really happy to introduce two friends and CEOs and founders of two companies that have joined UiPath family, Stepshot and Process Gold. That was a very smooth process. It was a bit unusual. I think because of the compatibility between us, we were able to very fast integrate the products and deliver as a unified kind of line of products. They are a big part into our promise of delivering a platform. And that's the planning stage of the platform. So I would like to bring on the stage Christian and Sasha to talk more about our offering.
Hey, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi, guys. Finally, I'm not alone on the stage. So I have other founders and CEOs besides, my first co-founders that I am proud to see here in the front, in the first row. Well, Sasha, please tell us first about, how Explorer Expert is gonna help our SMEs.
Yeah, so what we are building already for 3 months together with UiPath is this great product to give into hands of every business user. Something that a person would not be scared of too many features, too many buttons, too many things they could accomplish. It's a simple tool to build a process map, to build the actual steps as the screenshots, actions, and build process design documents that can help afterwards RPA developers and become a single point of truth to communicate information about RPA automation between RPA developer, business analyst, and subject matter expert. This is something that we are launching on 21st of October into general availability.
Great, that's nice. Christian, process mining, it's an emerging category. We know a few players. How do you feel you are different?
Well, it's, I think, a very long story, but I think everybody wants to go to the party, so I'll keep it short.
Okay.
If you look at the foundation of our company, we never started actually as a process mining company. We started out as a BI company. So we were always engaged with customers to really drive value out of data and creating solutions on top of that. And of course, we were always interested in the process mining space, but back then, process mining was invented actually in a backyard in the University of Eindhoven, where we actually have our headquarters. You visited us, of course. And the academic world was really looking at process mining from an academic point of view and really creating more value on the map itself than really getting business value out of it. So that's actually where we jumped in and created a combined solution where we created process mining in combination with very powerful BI platform, which we created already from scratch, and thereby creating really business value for the customers to get insights in all kind of aspects. So that's the difference that we made, I think.
It's great to hear. It's important that you're starting understanding very well, the requirements of the customers being there.
That's why we're here, right?
We count, on both of you to lead our process discovery effort, which is an overarching effort that includes, process mining and Explorer and recording technologies, computer vision, and machine learning models to understand the path into a process. It's really a huge effort. What are you most excited about it?
Well, to be honest, that it's not only about RPA anymore. It's much broader than that. It's about really, first of all, looking at what the processes are from the beginning, really creating transparency, where your problems are, where your focus points are, then actually launching bots on top of that to making the improvements very quickly and efficiently. But then, of course, always monitoring after the fact to see what the results are and really see what your return on investment is. And really having that whole scope and the holistic view of things, I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
To keep everything in a single image, like there is the start, the initiation, the discovery, and then there is end. This is possibility to have a robot for each person within the organization. And there is definitely a platform happening within all these stages coming together. So great possibility if we could discover the processes and generate the robots at once for those people that are using the platform in general. So this is the vision that we will try to enable during the next years with UiPath.
Sounds good. I'm sure we will succeed. Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you. You mentioned about customers.
Yes.
What do they think about process understanding and RPA?
Well, I think we should ask our customers, and I was
always
back here,
better.
And that's better.
Okay, let's invite them.
And I saw EY back there for Dennis Proy, so maybe, Dennis, can you come up and tell us your story?
Hey,
Hey,
Daniel.
Dennis. Good to see you.
Yes.
Hey, guys. Hey. Yeah, so you
Well-
introduced already, huh?
It's. Would you like to have you introducing yourself, please?
Yeah, so I've been actually tasked in EY in Germany, Switzerland, Austria to digitalize our audit. I mean, it's a 100-year-old business, so it's probably the craziest job I ever took. And it's still fun to do this. So we started 2016 actually to think about how process mining, which we mainly used before in consulting, can help us on the audit side. And you have to envision, as auditors, we sit in lots of interviews, talk to people, and I'm very honest, that's a usually biased conversation because not everybody tells freely to an auditor every time. So and then
Tell
we get
me about.
and then we get a lot of documentation which is outdated. So we needed something which speeds up our process, and process mining technology really helps us to get the truth out of the data, because I think that's where it is, right? If it's not manipulated at the data, it says the truth always. It's one-on-one, we can interpret it. So at EY, we take this in audit before we actually conduct an interview, ask our questions against the data, and then go to the customer. I think that's how the journey started and how we use it. And if you look at what we did from 2016 till now, we implemented at roughly about 250 clients, so which is, I think, one of the biggest process mining
250
deployments.
clients.
So-
This sounds amazing, really.
Yeah, so in EY is huge, and the audit practice is one of the biggest. And to start there is this major transformation project. Yeah.
So when you were evaluating process mining technologies, what were you looking for?
Yeah, so basically two aspects were very important for us. One thing is we wanted to look for a technology that can help as well drawing the process, but interpreting better than we did before from process documentation or from sample sizes. And the second thing, which is really important, I like to mention here, is also we wanted a partner that can grow with us, because nobody did this before in audit. So we did this on the consulting side, of course, we all know. I mean, that's also where RPA is coming from. But in audit, we wanted a partner who can grow the product with us. So that's why we looked at collaboration methods, and we have really close contacts with Process Gold and as well directly to the developers. So we'd like to continue this with UiPath, and we really like that the people are in the focus there. So teaming up on this transformation was the key. And the next thing then really was to take the process mining technology to something industrialized so that every auditor can use it. So it's really like the UI, the UX, the experience on the product. You cannot like script this all. You need to have a product that normal people can click through, browse, and digest like that.
We are very much looking forward to partner with you. Can you give us some more examples how your customers drive value and insights from the use of process mining?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there are two sides in EY. One is the performance improvement side, and that's definitely, I think, what most of you here know. So we clearly look at the acceleration of the process excellence. This is around how output measures get better, the cost drivers, but sales per customer, so really these drivers. And another side is compliance, so to help risk management departments, internal audit and external audits, to really drive transparency continuously and also follow up on remediation actions on the level of the data. Because auditors are used to give really generic recommendations, and we wanted to go away from this. So these are the two angles. If you let me make an example, I think for this audit world, because it's quite new for process mining, is I call this the dark room example. So it's not a dark room; it's more a dark room. So auditors, they do an interview. Then they make up their mind what is about the process, let's say sales, and then they walk into this dark room, pick some sales items, usually randomly, that's why the room is dark, take it out, put it on the desk of the sales officer or of the debitors department, and then the client follows up. Half of it is not necessary because it's all insured by contracts. Some items are necessary, some are interesting, but it's not really targeted. So with process mining, we basically, before we conduct the audit, walk into the room, switch on the light, we see everything that is laid out there, and then we basically targeting the things that matter of a certain industry, let's say retail or whatever, we take it out, give it to the customer, and the same time we used before to follow up randomly sampled actions, we do on things that really matter. And I think that is the difference in the driver.
Well, this is quite a good analogy. It made me even better understand. And what are you the most excited about UiPath process understanding?
Yeah, I think process mining and RPA are for me like a virtuous cycle. If you look into process improvement projects or any type of RPA projects, there are three drivers for us at EY. I mean, one is you need to harmonize a product. You need to harmonize a process first. Then you need to standardize it, and then you need to automate it. So it's like this. So if you look at this from a way of process mining, this harmonization you can easily do with the transparency of a process mining tool. Rudy used this analogy of the X-ray. So let's say you go to the doctor, right? Your leg is broken, so your purchase to pay process. Your purchase to pay process is slow. You take this example and then you X-ray this process, and then you work on the KPIs because you see where it's slow, where are the bottlenecks, and so forth. And RPA you can use to fix the leg. You can come in and pull the string and align the bones, and then you're actually really good. But you can go even further. I mean, many customers don't even think about doing more. So why just fixing your leg? I mean, you can replace it by the Usain Bolt legs and be faster, more agile, longer runs. So RPA really, on the basis of process mining, you can make it even more than you had before. So I think that's how it comes together.
This is how we will all become robots. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, take care. Well, let's turn to the next jobs we are creating. And we talked a lot today about StudioX. And in a way, this is also my child. I spend a lot of time with our developers, with our product managers to understand how we can simplify the delivery of automation. And actually, we took a big inspiration looking at spreadsheet technologies, which are quite powerful, and how come they've been able to hide so much complexity and have business people, business analysts able to work with them. But we talk a lot about StudioX. I would like more to introduce you our StudioT product. And I am particularly excited about this new product because there is a continuum in delivering automation. And this continuum starts actually with the implementation of line of business applications. Whatever you implement, SAP, Workday, Salesforce, you have to be able to test them. And part of the testing, the best way to test them is actually to use RPA, to use UiPath to test them. Because the same automations that you use to test a business application, to test to be resilient, to be able to not break processes when you change something in the application, you can use the same building blocks to automate the entire process. So we believe this is gonna transform how implementation of business application and migration of business application will look like. And I would like to invite on the stage a very good friend of mine that's been with UiPath for long in our history. He started in leading our EMEA and APAC sales organization, but it was just like 5 people when he started in the entire sales team. out of them 2 are here on the front row. He was really an inspiration for me into building this new business unit. Gurpreet, please come on the stage. And also, that's great. I would like to invite one of our first partner in this journey. Robert, would you come, please? Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
So, you know, you are very talkative compared to me, so I'm afraid to let you talk. That's fine. Can you tell us about your journey?
Oh my God. I mean, I realize we are standing between beer, drinks, and we are the 2 last people, so I'm going to keep it short. As Daniel said it very nicely, every enterprise client here has been doing testing for years. And a lot of them have been using automation in some shape or form. But all of that automation is basically redundant because it only sat on the software development or the IT operations silo. And when it came to business, you had to start from scratch. So our view, our belief for our clients is that if we can offer a testing solution on the same UiPath platform that you know, that you like, and you've seen all the things that Param talked about this morning, if we can give it to you, then you have the opportunity to share, reuse, update the automations, artifacts, workflows, screens, even skill sets across the entire organization and breaking down those silos. So that's the first big thing. The second is the testing solution that we're going to bring in is not only going to be doing the software testing of the various applications, the SAP and the Oracles or the mobile apps and the whole gamut, but very critically, it's also going to test all your process automations. So this is going to provide that continuum. So this testing solution which takes care of the software testing, IT operations, the bot testing, and then you've got the RPA tool with all the Explorer, everything else, which then carries it on, and what you get as a result is scale and resilience. So that's really the opportunity for our clients that we want to bring and offer it to you.
Good. You were short.
Short.
Rob, please tell us a bit about yourself and your company.
Yeah, so I recently started a new engagement with a large restaurant chain, leading test automation. I was brought in to specifically ensure quality with all the different applications in the enterprise. Yeah. And I'll tell you in a moment, how that kind of changed for me. But
that's good. That's good. So there are a myriad of testing automation software out there. Why did you choose us?
Well, so when I started this engagement, I was really struggling with the tool set to use because I didn't want to have a bunch of different tools. In some engagements, I've been able to get away with just using web automation testing, and it's been easy. It's old hat for myself and my teams at this point. But I found myself in an engagement where I was not going to be doing as much web or service-oriented testing. I was going to have to do a lot of native applications, and specifically point of sales. And so this point of sales application is not something that's web-based, and so it was a great challenge for me. And so what I did was I started trying to find some type of solution that I could do both with, because there was still going to be web as well. So that's when I kind of stumbled upon UiPath, and I met my account exec Kirk, and I was very skeptical of the software. As an engineer, I just am. I'm sorry, but when I put myself through the training, and I planned on just kind of just skipping it, or moving on to something else after a couple modules, and literally after the first couple modules, I stood up and I said, wow, I need to talk to somebody about this, because this is really going to work for us. really, that was basically the crux of it.
That's great. Maybe you can tell us a bit how the adoption is going, and maybe a use case that helped you move the needle?
Yeah, the adoption has actually gone really well. The reason why it's gone so well is because, well, one thing is our team charter has essentially changed. We've changed from being a test automation team to being a general automation team. By choosing UiPath, one challenge that I had was I needed to justify the spend of this new licensing. And so traditional RPA was kind of a side effect for myself and my team. But one big use case that really moved the needle for us, I was talking about point of sales. There is a process that they have to do, a deployment process. So they get this new software, new point of sale software version sent to them, they configure it, they test it as much as they can, and then they roll it out to all their stores. And it can't fail. I mean, they're open 7 days a week, and everything has to be running when they turn the lights on in the morning. So they bring in these temporary people to come in and just manually remote into all of the terminals for all of the sites that are deployed to. And they can only do 40 in one night, because 40 was the max amount of sites that they could validate in 8 hours. And so what we did, well, actually, first, the things that they checked were actually pretty simple as well. They would remote into a terminal, and they would look to see if there was the logo of the company, and if it was floating on the terminal. That was a big indicator of whether or not the deployment was successful, which also I would like to point out, there was a 30% failure rate for these deployments. So this validation was absolutely critical. They would not be able to do any type of production rollout without this. And then they would check some other various things like version numbers and stuff like that. So what we did was we used UiPath to create a robot that will take in an array of sites that we're deployed to. Let's say you have those 40 sites. We say, go check these. It remotes into all of the devices and terminals for each store. We wanted to actually do what the humans were doing. Now, I'm an engineer. There's more programmatical ways that I could ensure that the deployment was successful, but I want to also show off and prove the capabilities so we can get greater buy-in from the rest of the organization. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted the bot also to see if the screensaver was floating. And so what we did was we used OCR, which that was like my wow moment when I was evaluating the software. We used OCR to find and locate it on the screen 5 times, like 1 second in between each time, and then map the coordinates, or note the coordinates, and then compare the coordinates. And if those coordinates were different, then we can infer that the screensaver is floating, the deployment was successful, and if they were static, then the opposite. And so it would package all this up and send it to the one person, like the full-time person who needed to remediate any failures. The thing that was awesome about this was, remember I said there was 40 sites they could do in 8 hours with these people that they would have to bring in off the street, and they could only do this 2 or 3 times a year because the deployment process was so cumbersome. Our one robot on one unattended license could do all 40 in 2 hours. And we had 4 licenses. So basically what that meant was validation and testing for deployment releases was not a bottleneck for us.
This is awesome. Do you have tips for our audience tonight? Why should they start thinking of test automation with UiPath?
Yeah, it should be the same reason why I'm excited about it. Myself and my team, we were able to prove that with UiPath, we could ensure quality and that we could do automated testing with an RPA tool. We did it as it is now, before we're going to get to see all this new functionality that's going to make things even more efficient and easy for us to use. So I'm excited about the future because I know, the things that were difficult for me in doing this, but just knowing and seeing, what's coming, it's just going to get easier and better.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Ulrich, how these folks can, go and test? Should I click?
It's a button.
Okay, it's a button.
It's a simple one.
Yes, if you want to point your cameras on the screen, you will find the quickest way to get testing with our Studio T product.
Exactly. So the private preview will be launched very quickly. Please let us know your interest, and then we'll get in touch with you and take it from there.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Purpreet. Take care. Well, I think our time is up, from a few minutes already. I really don't want to keep you so long. But it's all very exciting. And that was when we come with this concept of automation is the application. When we have realized that actually RPA and automation is a new layer of software on the top of existing software in the enterprise. And why people should use, what is an application in the end? An application is a way by people sending data to a workflow, to a business process. Why should people send data to a business process? There is no reason. People should communicate with the robot, with the virtual assistant, and that in turn should send the data. So in this way, I think this is also revolutionary as an approach to deliver technology in enterprises. People will not be required to use graphical user interfaces, API interfaces anymore. They will just talk to this layer of software that sits on the top of all these silos. And of course, we need to facilitate this. We need apps to help our users to connect with the robots. So we have introduced the concept of apps. You've already seen it in Param's presentation this morning. But this is going to be the ultimate app. We believe this is actually the app that will be the one that people will use to interact with. And they are designed to be very simple, to only interrupt people from their work just to provide the required information, nothing else. And that is actually part of our platform. It was also, we had an aha moment, and helping, I worked with our product marketing team to build these presentations and Param's presentation. And the big moment when was really mapping we had like 14 products, new products released today. And we didn't know how to explain to people. And it was a big moment when we've come with this concept of stages of delivering automation and mapping everything to the stages. And that's actually what any business, in fact, we are building a business application platform. And we have now all the stages required by a big business application platform. So bear with me only for one last slide. We as a company have started very small. And, we always talk about our core tenets of our culture. But I would like to give you, I have a request for you, but I would like to give you also a bit of history context on those. We were just a bunch of people in an apartment. We didn't have a culture. We said maybe we have a culture, But people working together is like friends in a bar setup. They don't have culture. It's an ethos. It's people that sit together and they just feel good and they have a common passion. As we grew and grew, we had a hard time to define our culture. And we talk about ourselves. We are open. We are transparent. We want hardworking people. We want people that are able to challenge the authority. Or even in all our all-hands meeting, I had the concept of we don't have bosses in the company. And later on, people tell me, Daniel, bosses are not so bad. Well, I agree. Good bosses are not so bad. It was a moment when we had to really say, to be able to capture. And if you come with such a long list of values and behaviors that many companies have, I think they tend to be diluted a bit. So they end up being empty words. And one moment was, I had this inspiration at the time, saying, let's define it by one single word. If we have to choose one, what's the only one value that you have to choose for this company? And then we went back to our roots. Why do we exist here? We exist because our passion for technology, because we build a good product. We exist here because we are a customer-first company. That's true, but there is another reason why we exist here in this room. And that reason is that we've seen that our competitors were arrogant. In our early days, like 2014, 2015, we were just a small company that didn't understand anything about enterprise software. We had a software that was more, it has kind of areas of brilliance, but it was not a software ready to deliver RPA. It was a software ready to deliver not even pilots, POCs. But some customers were actually ready to engage with this small company in Eastern Europe. And the constant theme that I heard was, we've come to you guys because your competitors are arrogant. And later on, that was something that we have kept hearing, always. And to me, it made me really wonder on that's something that I'm always wondering, why people are arrogant. And so we ended up saying, guys, we can be defined by everything that is not arrogance. So we put, to be humble, humility, we put as the core of our culture. And then I discovered that actually humility, it gives you an amazing framework of thinking and of behaving. And it helps us really to speed up and jump ahead of everybody else. Because first of all, humility makes you listening to the other. So it was that trait that helped our engineer to understand they have to listen to our customers. Because engineers don't listen to the customers. Engineers build technology for the sake of technology. It's the trait that can let you change your mind. If you are not able to change your mind, you are stuck. You cannot make fast decisions because you need a lot of data until you make decisions because you don't want to lose face changing your decisions. But if you are able to if you understand there are no good or bad decisions, and you always make a decision with little data, and you are able to change every time you have more data, you will become better and better, and you will end up with better decisions than people that stay long without making any decision. And in the end, I think we are not born humble. And some of you might say, even saying that you are humble, it's a sign of arrogance. And I agree with you. And what I can tell you is that staying humble is not easy. Staying humble is like a muscle that you have to exercise. You have to go to fitness every day. And this is my request to you. We've become big. We've hired, lots of people. Some of them might not be a great cultural fit for us. It's difficult to scale as fast as the demand in the market is by bringing only people that are really cultural fit. And looking back at our growth, and thinking about what are the limits of growth of the company. So, on many cases, the limits are related to market or resources, but we are in one of the largest markets that ever existed. Resources today are kind of cheap. We can go and raise billions of dollars, but the real limitation is access to a talent pool that is culturally fit with you. This is the real. And sometimes we make mistakes, and we wanted to go too fast. So my request to you is help us to stay humble. It's not easy. If you find any sign of arrogance from UiPathers, please let us know. This is something that I am dedicated to fix. My dedication is to this company and to keep our people humble, true to themselves, and continue to be a customer-first company. Thank you so much. Thank you.